All right, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Afterhours
How's it going?
podcast. Yeah,
Okay, we're going.
yeah. Me and Roman here today. Holiday special.
The holiday special.
Yeah.
And to start it off, we're going to talk about some popular things happening in today's society, especially the cinema sector,
The film.
the film industry.
Yeah, let's call that.
With our very first one, as of this recording, the Monday. What's the date? 15th.
15th.
It's
50.
It's the 15th of April, Monday, and as of at 9 a.m., which was a couple hours ago, the very first episode of Game of Thrones just came out.
Ooh.
As I'm sure most of you are very much aware. Possibly, no, it's not possibly. It probably will be one of the largest.
Most certainly will be.
Yeah, the largest TV event of our time, most likely. I'm 90% sure on that. Hopefully.
You sound pretty certain.
I'm pretty certain it will be. I have seen the first episode.
Tell us about that, Roman.
It's a setup episode for the rest of the season. A lot of things have to happen. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't want to spoil any of it. And if some people haven't watched it, then that won't be too interesting for them.
To the people at home, Game of Thrones is a TV show in its 8th season now.
Yeah, this is the 8th and last season.
Fantasy series, as you all know.
It's more fantasy. Fantasy sort of has a connotation behind it that it's all like Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter, but this is more just
drama.
It has drama.
Yeah,
lots of drama, action every once in a while, and a few other things happen. But yeah.
So tell us about the first episode.
No spoilers, dude.
Are we not going to spoil?
No spoilers.
Apparently, people were pretty big on Game of Thrones spoilers.
Oh yeah.
All right, well, tell us how you thought it was without spoiling it.
It is not a lot really goes down. It's not that nutty, not that crazy. It is really just a setup episode for the rest of the season.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I really don't want to spoil anything, so I think that's all I have to say on the topic.
I haven't seen Game of Thrones.
Okay.
I've seen a couple episodes. Didn't really get into it.
How come?
I don't know. It just didn't click with me, I guess. Yeah, not a lot was just going on for me, really.
Do you not enjoy like that whole medieval aspect?
No, I do. I wanted to really get into it because I know it's got like a 9.5 IMDb, which is extremely good.
Yeah,
I just never got into it.
I think the first season is a little bit slow for people, and I think it's sort of like you have to sort of like
things start to speed up.
Yeah, because at the start it really just introduces all these characters, and then from there sets up their directions that each character goes plot wise.
Yeah, and
then from there it really gets into it.
Oh.
Yeah, a lot of stuff happens. There is, I think, at this current moment, there's over like 70-something hours of worth of footage. Not footage, like
wowzers.
Yeah, there's a lot, and a lot of things do happen. I think the actors have been on this. When did it start? When's the
2011.
2011.
8 years.
It's crazy because I rewatched the first couple episodes last night or the night before, and some of the actors looked like kids, and then now they're like full-blown adults.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy.
It's crazy.
Okay, so
Ed Sheeran was on one of the episodes.
Sheeran, yes, he was.
What? Yeah, which
There's
episode?
been a few. There's been a few
celebrities,
but I think Ed Sheeran's the biggest one.
Oh.
He just showed up. It was pretty weird. Not gonna lie.
What do you mean? Like, what character? What was his?
No, he was like he wasn't anything. It was just it was like a traveling party they were with when they were transporting.
Did he say anything?
I think he said a couple things about. No, he started doing music. That's right. They were in like a campsite, and he started singing.
Like on a guitar? Or
yeah, I think so. I didn't think it was a guitar.
Shape of You, perhaps?
No, I think it was. I don't know any other songs. I was
Thinking Out Loud.
Thinking Out Loud.
Happier.
I don't know any of them.
He has some bangers.
He's so successful.
He is.
He gets so much money from all of those songs, and they're really sort of.
I'm pretty sure he's the only artist on Spotify to have like 3 songs that have plus 1 billion.
Yeah, he gets so much money.
Yeah, just imagine his ad revenue.
Yeah, because they're all just like feel good songs, and that's it.
Really, what's it called? Appeal to the female teenage demographic.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's it. All right, back to
Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So you watched it.
I've watched all of it multiple
Things
times.
haven't really started to heat up.
Not yet, but it will be.
What are you looking forward to with this season?
With this season? There's a lot of things.
What do you want to happen, or how do you think this is what's going to happen?
What's going to happen at the end?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give my general overview how I think it's going to end.
Yeah.
Number one, I'm just going to go over the characters. Arya, she's not going to remain the cool assassin character. She's going to regain her innocence at Winterfell. Sansa's going to become a strong leader. Jon Snow isn't going to stay in Winterfell. I think he's destined for more. And then, of course, you have Daenerys, Dany. I don't know. I think she might not live. I think they're going to kill her off.
Daenerys?
Yeah. I think they're going to kill her off.
You just have a feeling?
They're going to kill her off. That's just what I think. That she's gone through so much, and just before she gets her main goal of the Iron Throne, they're going to knock her off. And Jon's going to be very upset.
Do they have a romance?
Yeah, they do. Ooh. They do. They've got a little thingy going on. I'm not going to say anything on it. If you're watching it at the current moment, I'm not going to spoil it, but there are undertones there, if you know what I'm saying.
So who else in our year watches Game of Thrones?
I assume everyone. Because it is the most watched show, isn't it?
And Nathan.
Yeah, it is the most watched.
I know information guy. Shout out to Nathan. He doesn't really get much recognition. But
I know for a fact it is the most pirated show of all time.
Definitely.
It is the most pirated show, which is crazy.
It's only on
HBO and there's a HBO channel on Foxtel. So
yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Why wouldn't they put it on Netflix? I guess you
have to buy the rights. It's going to cost
a lot of rights.
It's a lot of contract work with those buying rights to different things. And for instance, HBO would have the directors would have gone to HBO, and maybe in the contract it says you will provide this show for us and only us and our platforms that we agree upon. For instance, Foxtel or possibly a few others in there that I'm not aware of. So that probably it's just contract stuff.
So it's an exclusivity deal?
Huh?
Exclusivity deal?
Yeah, exclusivity deal. So that's why Breaking Bad and stuff on other
terrific show.
Yeah, that's a good one. I haven't seen that one.
It's so good. But so it was a book series.
Yes, by George R. R. Martin. This one's different though. I think it changes around season 5 of the show because it's George R. R. Martin came out and says that it is the books and the TV show take different lines of what happens.
Okay. So how many books are there?
There's not that many.
The
books are actually behind because the TV show overtook the books and what happens.
Yeah.
Because George R. R. Martin very notoriously takes a long time to write.
Fair enough.
So I think there's 7 books.
Seven books.
Yeah. Oh. There's a lot. I haven't read the books, although I probably should. There's a lot more characters and there's a lot more different things that happen.
Yeah.
I know for a fact George R. R. Martin writes for in every season he writes one episode of the TV show.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So yeah.
Does he make cameo appearances?
Yeah, does he make cameo appearances?
Nah.
Cool. That would have been sick, yeah.
Or maybe he will in the last season. That'd be pretty cool. But I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, so he kind of stole... There's the belief that he kind of stole... what's his name? J.R.R. Tolkien.
Tolkien?
Yeah.
They took his idea.
Yeah, he kind of like stole the whole fantasy thing and you know how he has the RR in his name?
Oh,
but that is a little...
No, that's... I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I don't agree. I was putting it forward.
So you reckon he's using the RR in his name to get possible searches from people?
No, I just find it funny that they're both fantasy authors and...
Well, that's the thing with fantasy. It's you got to have it. Either it's the Harry Potter where it's set in the world now, or you set it in a medieval time. And I think just saying that the setting is kind of similar isn't really enough to say that he inspired. Yes, but it's hard not to be inspired by Tolkien's work because it's so amazing.
Yeah.
And when writing fantasy, you do have to take notes from the guy who pretty much invented it.
Yeah, I mean, all ideas are just borrowed.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as an original idea.
Yeah, the Greeks already came up with everything. Other than fantasy. Well, no, they probably did fantasy. I think it's a well-known thing that every drama has already been done.
By the Greeks,
Yeah,
ancient Greeks.
they just made it all up. They just did it all.
Shakespeare,
Shakespeare probably did his own stuff as well.
Yeah.
But I think it's just, at its basis, the plots are derived from Greeks. That they pretty much made it the way it is. With the tragedies, for instance, the love stories, and then you have, oh no, my one and only love has fallen.
Yeah.
And now I must do such and such. Yeah.
Oh.
Or I must fight this person to get my one true love back from the person who has stolen her and stuff like that.
The Greeks also came up with democracy, of course.
Democracy. They came up with democracy. They came up. Did you see
philosophy as well?
Philosophy, democracy, mathematics.
Pretty much all the knowledge of the world.
Astronomy a bit. They had a very basic idea because they didn't have a telescope back then. They had a basic idea of what the universe was like. For instance, they just sort of knew that the sun was in the middle, but other people had other ideas as well, so it wasn't really like solidified.
Yeah.
For instance, they realized they actually had a computer.
Yeah.
In Greek times, ancient Greek, it was found in a ship in the water. They pulled it up, and in a box, it's just some cogs together, and it's called the something machine. It's a type of ancient Greek computer. It's so sick. Yeah, the Antikythera mechanism. Yes, what it looks like, it's just some cogs together, and I think it was used to. What was it? It's sort of like a watch, but it's more than that.
It predicts like the eclipses.
The eclipses and calendars and like moon patterns, I think maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, moon patterns. So they realized that this is actually the world's first ever computer because of how it functions.
Yeah.
And they also made a steam engine. Yeah, in the Library of Alexandria, they had a lot of documentation of different things over the years. They found a guy made the steam engine. He sort of made it and then was like, oh, well, I don't know what to do with it. So no one really took it seriously. But he just sort of made it. They had a guy who calculated the Earth was round, and he also, he calculated how big it was and the circumference of it.
Yeah.
And I think he was only off by less than a mile.
Whoa.
So
it's pretty good.
Yeah, he just sort of did it.
It's pretty good.
But it would have been, ancient Greeks were crazy. It was just like people for like the first time were just centralized around gaining information because they've already done all the conquest. Other people have done that. They own all the Mediterranean nearly, and then they just went, okay, let's just dedicate ourselves to gaining every piece of information we can. So, for instance, with the Library of Alexander, is it Alexander or Alexandria?
I think it's Alexandria.
Yeah, Alexandria. One of the marvels of information and knowledge of its time, but sort of went missing after a while.
Yeah.
It is written that when a ship would go into the docks, it was mandated they had to hand over all of their books and send them to be copied. And then only when all of the books were copied, they could give the books back to the people and then they could leave. So it was a mission to get every single piece of information on the planet. They've got some of the craziest stuff in there.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. But it went bye-bye.
Yeah, it burnt down.
Apparently not, because I think it was, I can't remember who, but someone burnt down Alexandria.
Is that the...
They set the ships in the dock alight when it was taken over, and those ships went on fire and destroyed, but it also burnt some of the city.
Yeah.
And it was predicted, it was said to have, that the Library of Alexander also burned down. By the way, this library was massive. It had lecture halls, it had countless amounts of shelves.
How big are we talking here?
How big was?
If you've seen any ancient Greek building,
the Library of Alexandria. Yeah.
They don't like to do things small. When they say we're going to build like a big thing, they make it big. They make it grand. They got the pillars. It just looks so cool. How big does it say?
It doesn't really say. He said it used to hold approximately 100,000 scrolls, but
Estimate vary
40,000.
somewhere between 40,000 to 400,000 scrolls, perhaps equivalent to roughly 100,000 books, which is crazy for its time.
It is crazy.
Yeah, and they just had, but apparently it didn't burn down when the city burnt down. Only a section of it did. But because the city went from, I think, Greek to Roman to Byzantine to Christian to back to Middle Eastern rule in Turkey and whatever, over time it just sort of lost its pizzazzle in a way. It was all lost into time, which is sad.
You know what has stayed
What has stayed?
for a time? Philosophy.
Philosophy?
Yeah. Doesn't it just blow your mind that 2,000, not how many years ago are we talking? Socrates, 2,000 years ago?
I think so.
Socrates, Aristotle, all those guys coming up with these philosophical ideas, and
About 2000.
about 2,000, and they're still talked about today in society.
Yeah, they came up with some really good ideas, but but they came up with some bad ones too. I think it was Plato, I think, or Aristotle said that what was it? Humans are just featherless chickens. Do you remember? Do you know that one?
No, I don't know. We don't get taught that.
No, he said that humans are just featherless bipeds, which is a chicken. It means two hand things.
Yeah.
Arms, which is a chicken. So one of the guys who was also another famous philosopher, Plato. Okay, that was Plato. And a famous philosopher came into Plato's lecture when he was giving a lecture, and he plucked a chicken and then threw it at him.
Yeah.
And then said, "Here stands Plato's human."
What?
Yeah, because he said that's what a human was. So, yeah.
And why was a human just that?
I don't know. That's what he said. He said, humans are just featherless bipeds." So the guy plucked a chicken and threw it at him.
What do you think about humans then?
We are apes
We're apes.
at heart.
At heart.
Yeah.
There's no meaning to our life.
Yeah, we make meaning ourselves.
So the meaning of life is just whatever you want it to mean to you.
Yeah, go outside, read a book, get some friends.
Have your morning coffee on Saturday.
Have a morning coffee, have a morning tea, have a morning Red Bull. It doesn't matter, man. Take your kids to the park. Remember to read a good book, picnic, and go out for a walk every once in a while. And remember to have fun with it. Because,
at the end of the day, we're here to have fun.
At the end of the day, at some point, you got to leave the party sometime,
So what's your meaning of life to you?
To me?
Yeah.
Oh, this is getting deep.
Getting too deep. I can tell you what I think mine is.
Okay, let's go with yours.
I think for me, when I'm on my deathbed,
Okay.
and I'm really old, really wrinkly and ugly, I think if I can just look back at the moments of my life, when I was younger with a sense of nostalgia, I think that's when I've completed life. I think that's the meaning of life for me. To have nostalgia for these moments that you experienced when you were a younger person.
Yeah,
I think that's all I need to be fulfilled.
I think I'd agree with that, but mine sort of differs with the nostalgia.
Yeah,
mine would be looking back and seeing that I've made people laugh and stuff.
Yeah.
That people, because of me, have had a good time, and that I've given.
Had an impact on
I've had an impact that someone out there has become happy or changed themselves for the better because of my influence.
You want to put something out there into the world, and you want people to be impacted by that.
Yeah, that I've actually done something. Either it's
That's
just
a fair point.
make someone laugh, or knowing that because of me, someone had a good time. That's pretty good.
Would you want to be like a stand-up comedian?
I'm not in that sense.
No.
Just in general. Not in stand-up. You can do the same thing with stand-up.
You can still make people laugh. Stand-up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably about it. There's definitely more to that, but what were we talking about before?
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. That was the original one.
Well, we plan to talk about the meaning of life.
Yeah. Okay, so
very briefly, however.
Because of the hype.
Yeah.
Are you more inclined to watch it now?
Yeah, certainly. I'll give it a go. I'll try and get into it again.
It just feels weird that it's going to end in the next couple of weeks.
You're gonna be sad?
A little bit, yeah.
I definitely want to check it out.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what everyone's going to be talking about. I gotta get in on that.
You just don't want to be like the one.
I don't want to be the one
quiet.
outsider. No. I want to join those conversations, but Lannister.
The Lannister
Stark.
family, such and such and such. Yeah, there's heaps of theories going around.
All I know is that Ed Stark dies. Is that the guy?
Ned Stark.
Ned Stark. Ed Stark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sean Bean, right?
Sean Bean.
Who dies in every movie.
Ned Stark. This first season came out in what, 2011?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you haven't seen it by now, then I'm
Pretty
sorry.
sure he
but
died season 2. Right?
He died season 1.
Oh, one. Yeah.
He died at the end of season 1. And from that, he was such a good character. Personally, I loved him. Everything he just says is so cool. He's like the father of Winterfell. He's hard, but he's so wise, you know?
Is he like, he's fair, right?
He's
like,
fair. He is, honestly, out of all of his
He's not
characters, he's the most honourable out of all of them.
Yeah.
And that's where he sort of led his downfall. Because he got sent to the King's Landing where it's all the manipulators and people, everyone fighting for power. That he just sort of, he discovered the truth of something and then people just had his head cut off. And but from that, it sort of sends all of the other members of the Stark family into different ways. And it really sets up the rest of it. But yeah, Ned Stark is my favourite.
Yeah.
Just like, you could just, all of his lines you could just learn so much from. As people.
Like what?
I don't know, just stuff about like...
He had some good quotes.
Yeah, on how to grow up as a person and stuff. How to be a big manly man in Game of Thrones world.
You think my life is such a precious thing to me that I would trade my honor for a few more years?
Exactly. It's all about honor.
Such a good man.
So yeah.
Honor is important, for sure.
Honor, but it's like, it's having pride and sticking to your moral values.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Because it's...
Morals are important.
Yeah, morals are important. It's a compass.
And Ned Stark.
Ned Stark
encompassed that.
Yeah.
So moving on, Avengers Endgame.
Okay, another
kind of...
The equivalent of Game of Thrones, the last season, but on the big screen. Now, this is something kind of weird. So the hype around the first Avengers Infinity War was astounding. It was a lot. It was a lot. But I'm not feeling the same for the second one.
How come?
I'm not sure. Are you feeling the same, Nathan?
Mm-hmm.
Because beforehand it was like, I am thrilled. I am excited. I am buying a whole row out for my friends at the cinema on the first showing of the first day. But for this one, it's sort of like, I just want to see how they defeat Thanos. That's all anyone wants to see. And everyone knows that's what they're going to go see.
Yeah, they're going to win.
But for Avengers Infinity War, it was like, let's see who even is Thanos. Dude?
Yeah.
Who even is the main villain? What can he do? How strong is he? I mean, is he gonna snap his fingers? Are they gonna lose?
Mm.
But how are they gonna lose? You know what I mean? It's like we've only seen our characters really succeed in the long run.
Was everyone spoiled? Like, was everyone surprised when half the cast died?
Or
was that
okay? So first of all, there was the original comic.
Yeah.
There's the original comic Thanos.
Yeah.
And he snaps his fingers.
Yeah.
And then just before they released the Avengers Infinity War, they had another revival of the comic that came up before it. So anyone who is into the comics and into the original text, then they will know that the snap was going to happen. But I think for a majority of people, it was a sort of a surprise.
Yeah.
For the uncultured ones.
The uncultured swines.
Yeah.
But yeah.
They did a similar thing with Shazam where they rebooted the comics, right? So I think a few months prior to the movie.
I don't like Shazam.
Did anyone go and see that?
I didn't.
I saw Shazam.
Did you see it?
Yeah, it was alright.
From what I heard is that it's just centralized and is the audience they tried to encapsulate was children.
Yes.
With the children
Definitely.
jokes.
I think DC's trying to copy Marvel in a way that they're trying to blend comedy and action. But I don't think
Can they pull it off?
I think DC's just should stick to their dark and
they tried that. They tried that with the other DC films and they were all absolutely terrible. They really were just terrible films and just bad. I have a little bit of a theory on why why they are bad too. It's all because of Christopher Nolan.
What about Chris?
Okay, so Dark Knight, The Dark Knight Rises, and
The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
No, Batman
No,
Begins.
just-
Batman Begins,
The
The
Dark
Dark
Knight,
Knight,
yeah.
The Dark Knight Rises. The Batman Begins is about him and Ra's al Ghul, and then Dark Knight is the Joker, Heath Ledger, the most famous one. Dark Knight Rises with Bane, and what you have is a trilogy of the best films to ever grace the cinema and the screen, and probably our society. Especially The Dark Knight. That is one of it's like world recognized that this is one of the best films.
I agree. The Dark Knight definitely.
It is classic. It is honestly perfect, in my opinion. You cannot watch it and not be intrigued.
Alright. Why? Tell us why.
I'm not going to go into why because that's too much. I'm
Okay.
going to go into why that destroyed DC. And
Alright,
its
can I
future
just say
endeavors.
something first?
Okay,
Dark Knight Rises. I didn't really like it.
that was Bane.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was kind of bad.
Yeah,
Dark Knight, the Dark Knight was definitely good. Batman Begins was pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah. Alright, anyway, back to
The Dark Knight Rises was less because I mean you went from literally grade A performance with Heath Ledger and everyone
Yeah.
else in the cast, and the plot was amazing,
The
and it
plot
was
was
just so
great.
entertaining from start to finish. Then, not to mention even Hans Zimmer's score, which goes without saying, is
Dude,
perfection
it's
as
legend.
always.
Yeah.
And then you go to the last one, and it's sort of like you can't reach that.
You can't top that. Yeah.
You can't.
Peaked too early.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no. Honestly, they peak fine. You go from one sort of humble beginning, peak, humble ending. I don't mind. I don't see a problem with that. I mean, predictable with the continuous rise up from one. 2 is better than the 1, and 3 is better than the 2. I kind of like how it went up and down.
A bit like my brothers. Andre, humble beginning. Jared, a massive peak. Damien, just slow decline.
Humble ending though.
Humble ending.
Anyway, how did this ruin
Okay.
DC?
So, Batman was created, and we all know Batman, not from the George Clooney version, but from the Christopher Nolan version, which is
The Michael Keaton.
it isn't what DC is.
Yeah.
Everyone who's seen the original comics has just been like, okay, it's so clear Christopher Nolan just read one comic and just said, okay, I'm going with it. It is not about superheroes, it's about superheroes in a realistic setting.
And I like that.
That's why it's so good.
Yeah.
It's like, this is actually original.
Yeah.
Original take on what Batman is.
Mm.
And Christopher Nolan even said it. He said, I signed with, I think, Warner Brothers to make 3 superhero movies.
Mm.
And then once he's done, Warner Brothers said, if you do 3 superhero movies, then we'll give you the card, the Golden Pass. And what this Golden Pass is for directors is that you can just make whatever you want. You can make a movie and they won't be like, oh, well, we want you to
At
make
Warner
such a-"
Bros. Studios.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's just like with anything. It's not like an official thing, but that's pretty much what they said.
Just tell me more about this Golden Pass.
Or it's not like a tangible thing. It's like the company says, if you make a money-maker movie,
Yeah.
it really isn't going to be that good. For instance, superhero movies, because it wasn't really that big at the time.
Yeah.
Because they just wanted to do what Marvel was doing.
Yeah.
And then if you do that, then you can just go off and make whatever movie you really want to make.
Okay. Yeah.
That you want to make. And so Christopher Nolan was like, all right, I'll do it.
Yeah.
He read one comic and was like, all right, let's do this thing. And then he made some of the best superhero movies the world's ever seen. So, I've watched interviews and he admits that wholeheartedly. Says, I'm not really a fan of comic books.
the guy who makes the best superhero films, not even a fan of comics.
He's like,
I read one.
I just did it. Yeah, he just did it in a realistic setting.
Fair
But
enough, yeah.
the reason why that destroyed DC later on is it because it was too good. And it was dark, it was realistic, and then from that amazingness, you go to a CGI goofy film. It's because people, and then it was dark Batman in the first one. I can't remember, was that a Batman vs Superman?
Injustice.
Injustice.
I didn't see any of those movies.
Yeah, you don't need to. Please don't watch them.
Oh, that one was bad though.
That one was very bad.
Yeah, 28%.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah,
Batman
that-
vs Superman. I can go
yes.
20 minutes on why that is a complete cinematic failure.
Well, let's not do that.
Okay, but if you look at the Batman in the now DC, and look at him compared to the Christopher Nolan. They're such polar opposites of what they are.
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck isn't good. He's too chunky.
Why? What was the reasoning behind Ben Affleck as Batman?
I don't know.
What's his name? Christian Bale was brilliant. And they decided to follow it up with Ben Affleck.
It's casting a Batman actor is difficult because it has to encapsulate two characters at the same time. Number one, he has to be Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
He has to be the playboy, the rich guy, and at the same time, he has to be the hardcore wearing the mask.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like Christian Bale was a perfect Batman.
Yeah.
But Ben Affleck was a better Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne. So I think that's how it worked. It's difficult to cast that sort of person.
I think Ben Affleck was too old to play Bruce Wayne.
I think,
and he's too big as well.
Yes.
He's not.
When he gets buff, he doesn't get buffy. It's like chunky.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, oh God.
And we're being really...
Yeah, Ben Affleck could be watching, could be listening to this,
We're
dude.
sorry, Ben.
We're sorry, Ben.
Just stick with Matt Damon making Good Will Hunting. Anyway, yeah. So your argument is...
Christopher Nolan did such a good job
that DC couldn't...
That it's like everything else is a shadow in what it should be. And everyone's like, I don't want this goofy Batman. I want the Batman that was actually good. And then DC goes... Well, we can't do that because we already had a whole plot written out. We've hired everyone to make a Batman who looks like Marvel.
Yeah.
They wanted to do because you know it goes from all these Batman films and whatnot and Superman films, and then they say, okay, we're stopping here after Christopher Nolan, and we're going to be like Marvel, and we're going to centralize all these characters together.
See, that's the thing with that's one of the dangers of art. You can, as an artist, you can put out a bit of art, whatever form that is, music. Literature, film, and it can be so good and it can define your career, and you will have problems throughout the rest of your career trying to follow that up, trying to be just as good. For instance, J.K. Rowling in Harry Potter, pretty popular example. She's never going to be able to top that, is she?
Do you mean she made Harry? Well, she didn't. What do you mean with the books or the movies?
The books.
The books?
Yeah.
She hasn't written any other books, has she?
Yeah.
Has she? Oh, they're probably just passion projects.
She wrote The Casual Vacancy, I believe. I read that.
I don't think she's written anything after.
Yeah, after. I think beforehand she had a few others.
No,
I know she
wrote
did.
The Casual Vacancy. That's one of hers I've read after.
Oh, Lethal White. Is that her?
No, that's not her. Wait, what? Written by Robert Galbraith, but it's on J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, that's the... What's the word? Synonym? When you
synonym?
No. When you take the name, where you pretend to be someone else as an author.
Yeah.
So she's pretending to be someone else to like not have her.
Yeah, not have J.K. Rowling on it.
Yeah.
I think Robert Galbraith is
like I'm pretty sure Stephen King did it with
other ones. Yeah.
Something. But yeah.
She did the screenwriting, I think, and she was on the. I'm gonna sneeze.
Casting.
Fantastic Beast and Where to Find Them.
Yeah.
The second one, I think she worked on that, which is of course terrible because she doesn't know how to write movies.
Terrible.
It was bad. It was bad.
Yeah. Anyway, back to my whole thing.
Okay, let's go back.
The danger of not being able to follow up something that was so good, not being able to peak again. Do you see that as a good thing or a bad thing?
True creative artists hate it.
Yeah.
Because they make something, like for instance in songwriting, sometimes the band will make a song and they don't even like the song, and then everyone else says, oh well, that's your biggest hit now. And then everyone's like, oh, you have to perform it, and they're like, we actually really don't like that.
We don't want to perform this.
Please listen to our other
100th
stuff.
time in a row, yeah.
Yeah, and they hate it. And that's happened with so many different real creative people.
I know the Eagles with Hotel California.
Yeah, they probably hate that one.
They wrote
the
that.
one-hit wonders.
All the one-hit wonders. Yeah.
That's just universal. With movies, I feel it's different for movies because you can make other stuff.
Yeah.
And then, because usually most people don't say, oh, hey, it's that actor, unless it's obvious, like Wes Anderson films. You know it's Wes Anderson when you're watching
His
Wes
style
Anderson
of
film. His style,
filmography.
I love Wes Anderson, by the way.
He's very
that
good.
style's so good. It's comedic genius.
Fantastic
in that.
Mr. Fox.
Fantastic Mr. Fox is brilliant.
The Grand Budapest
The Grand
Hotel.
Budapest Hotel is brilliant.
What else?
Isle of Dogs is also brilliant.
I haven't seen that
I
one.
want to watch Moonrise Kingdom. That's like a bunch of...
Yeah.
Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't.
It's like... what are those... The kids with the patches and they have like a... What's it?
doll?
No. Like the youth thing they do.
Scout?
Scouts. It's like a scouts thing.
Yeah.
And it's like Scoutmaster such and such.
Oh.
And I think two kids, like a guy and a girl, kid just get lost in the woods.
Got you.
Yeah. I think it's like a little love story. It's pretty cute.
Sounds pretty cute.
It sounds pretty cute.
No.
They also did one about the one about the director who made a film. This is from way back about him going under the sea, and he released a film, and it was all fake.
Yeah.
They didn't tell anyone that was fake, so everyone thought it was real
Yeah.
until he came out and said, "Yeah, just not real."
It's not real.
Yeah. Ah, God.
Classic Wes.
Yeah.
What are we doing for time?
We're pretty good. We've got like another 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
All right.
All right.
Final thing for today.
Final thing for today is one of possibly of this year, if not of
For a long time.
for a long time,
Yeah.
the greatest scientific accomplishment. Sorry, it's not an endeavor.
It's not an
It's done. It's done and over.
It's a
It's a-
discovery.
Discovery, accomplishment. We as a human civilization have done.
Well, not really you, just a group of scientists.
Everyone. Everyone combined.
Everyone at
Good
home,
job, everyone.
You did this as well.
Pat yourselves on the back. It's probably loud.
Yeah, you probably just maxed out the audio, but it's
Yeah, all right, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we took a picture. Smart people got together and they took a picture. A really hard to take picture. A really small picture. And it was a picture, and the thing they took a photo of was very far away. Very, very far away. And yeah.
What is this picture?
It's a picture of a black hole, Damien. It's
Yeah.
a black hole, and it's called M87.
M87.
It is 6.5 billion
Sounds like an
times.
airplane.
Yeah, M870,
M87.
M837.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it is. Yeah, it's a black hole. It's called M87. It's I think 50,000 light years away or something. Very
Yikes.
far away, but it is very big, and it is I think 6.5 billion times the size of our sun, which is kind of hard to
Let's
comprehend.
just say that again for people at home.
6.5 billion times the size of our sun.
So our Earth is about how small is our Earth compared to the Sun, maybe?
Small.
It's pretty small.
It's not a lot.
All right, we can't really compare that.
Yeah,
So yeah, the
I
Sun.
don't have the physics data sheet next to me.
Oh.
How many?
It's big.
It is very
Earths
big.
fit into?
It's like the whole spiel about the Big Bang, like, can be confirmed or at least supported by this discovery, and that's pretty big.
Okay, so the sun is so large that 1.3 million Earths can fit inside of it.
So it's that times 6.5
billion.
billion.
Yeah.
And that's the size of this black hole.
This black hole, a black hole, and is continuously consuming matter.
So what is a black hole?
Oh,
All right, Nathan, you're going to have to look this one up. Me and Roman both dropped physics last year.
a black hole is.
All I know is that a black hole is no mass can exist in a black hole, correct?
Yep, sucks it all up.
Yeah.
Where does it suck it all up to? Who knows? That's the magic of science. Who knows?
A black hole is a region of space where the gravitational field is so intense that no matter or radiation can escape.
It is so intense that both space and time bend around it.
Mm.
It's intense, and it
It's
is
very
very
intense.
crazy. So, with the consequences of this image, it confirms black holes do exist, and it also confirms that Einstein was right about what happens around the event horizon. Wasn't that his theory?
Classic
So,
album.
the image, we're going to put it in the link for everyone to look at, because you just have to look at it.
Okay, that's more work for me to do.
It's
a 2-second
it's a
job.
2-second job.
Yeah.
Okay, what's it say?
So the event horizon is the region of space around a black
It's
hole.
around the black hole, so it's the edges of it.
Yeah.
And his whole idea was that existed, and that not even light can escape from it.
So why is there orange light around this?
That's light.
That's trapped light.
Trapped light.
Yeah. So that, there's a black hole, right?
Yeah.
So think of like a black hole, a black ball, and there's all this light just like spinning around it.
Mm.
So I think there's two regions. The first region from the black hole is that there's like a region outside where everything is sort of rotating around it.
Yeah.
And then it's very hot, millions of degrees, spinning around like crazy, and then it stops because it's in sort of like an orbit.
Mm.
And then nothing, and then there's another smaller orbit way closer to it that is all of this stuff, which is just spinning around it, like being trapped into it, being sucked into it. This is just like millions of degrees at matter and whatnot. It's pretty nutty. And the picture we took of was all of that stuff being sucked into it. So when you look at it, it is a black ball with orange haze around it. So, yeah.
We had to use 8 telescopes.
It is 8 telescopes simultaneously because our Earth has a tendency to spin, and you can't take a picture of something so far away for a very long period of time because the Earth's going to move, and then next thing you know, you're pointed at something completely different. Yeah. So they use 8 telescopes. There's one in South America, Antarctica. There's a couple in America,
Chile,
North America, North Mexico, and in Europe, I think too.
Yeah.
So if
Mexico, Hawaii.
If I was to chuck Nathan in this black hole, what would happen?
I would be.
Nathan wouldn't live.
So much pressure by gravity. I'd just be like stretched into a long, thin noodle.
Yeah. I think.
How thin are we talking about here?
We're talking like spaghetti.
His atoms would be ripped apart. I think.
Yes, that's the one.
So there's a certain.
I'd be stretched into a single line of molecules.
He would enter the event horizon. I don't think a lot would really happen if you just sort of placed him and he'd go in. But after a certain period,
as I approach the singularity,
it's like sucked into a vortex, I think. So he would sort of get like sucked in and then just like looped around this thing, and then just sucked in some more. And I don't know, maybe some interstellar stuff will happen where he'll talk to you and
in the fifth dimension.
He'll move some books on the shelves. Who knows? And then he encounters the robot too that's in there.
Oh, yeah.
Tars.
Just floating around. It's like, hey man, just look at all this.
This is so crazy.
Stuff. How long do you reckon until we've achieved space travel?
We have space travel.
Like commercialized space travel.
Oh, soon. So
people will just be traveling to and from galaxies, like.
Not yet.
Not yet, obviously.
Number one, the moon. So what happens first with just any amount of colonization that we've seen, first of all on our planet, the government goes over and colonizes the place. And then after they've colonized, for instance, Australia, they colonized us and they set up camp and then they just said, all right, we need people. Who cares? We've taken all. We've found out if there's any resources here. Now, if you want to come over, you can buy a ticket. We'll send you over. So that's what I'm pretty sure, in my personal opinion, that's what's going to happen with the moon. Once every nation has been on there and been like, all right, we've done whatever we want. We don't want to go there anymore. We're going off to Mars now. So the government will be like, okay, we're going to allow actual businesses and companies to set up places up there that they can use all their money. For instance, I think Virgin.
Yeah, Virgin.
Yeah, they're actually interested in using their airplanes into space.
Wow.
Yeah, the Virgin Galactic Spacecraft Group.
Virgin Galactic is a space flight company within the Virgin Group. It is developing commercial spacecraft and aims to provide suborbital space flights to space tourists and suborbital launches for space science missions. So this is what I think is going to happen, is that we're all going to be able to go to hotels on the moon.
I hope that happens. That'd be sick.
Hopefully that happens kind of soon.
Yeah.
Because...
in our lifetime, do you reckon?
Honestly, the rate we're going at, probably.
I hope so.
Probably. It'll take a while to set up, but once we're set up and they get a system down, we'll probably get a whole... It sounds science fiction, I know, but we could probably get... Do you reckon we could get like an oxygen atmosphere going?
Oh, like
a small pod.
atmosphere.
Yeah, like a small dome Get some trees in there.
You just plant
Start
some trees.
oxygenating the place.
I reckon it is possible to synthesize an atmosphere on the moon.
I reckon because it's so small. We could probably do it.
That'd be sick.
Not our lifetime, but it is possible.
Okay, now this is a question I have to you.
Yeah.
If someone is born on the moon, what country are they? Because we would go there, we'd be Australian, and have Australian passports.
We were both born.
What passport would you have to use?
All right.
The moon.
So
If you're born on the moon,
this is our last question. We're approaching time.
Okay, yeah.
do you think it's a good one to
Are
end
you
with?
just,
I would say they're American because the Americans.
or are you just the country that your parents identify with? So if your parents are Nigerian,
But that doesn't happen in some countries.
Well, America colonized it first. They first.
They didn't colonize it.
No, not colonized.
They stepped on the land first. But here's a question.
by the rate at which we're heading, it'll be what planet do you identify? Identify with?
You're one of the first.
I call it Saturn.
We're going to have Martians, dude.
Yeah.
Do you reckon the people who are going to go over there in, I think, 2020, 2021, they're going to go over there, could we classify them as Martians?
Or do you have to be born on Mars to be classified as a Martian?
In that Matt Damon movie, didn't he say a Martian was someone who colonized another planet?
No.
Are you really going to trust the Matt Damon movie?
No.
It
That was true.
Guy.
And he said, what did he say? It says, I'm a Martian, but I'm a Martian pirate because he goes over and takes the other ship. But he hasn't been strictly allowed to because the people who landed the ship didn't give him permission. So he says, I looked into the dictionary and I now decree myself as the very first Martian pirate.
A Martian is just
I'm
anyone
a space
who,
pirate.
I'm a space pirate.
A Martian is anyone who inhabits Mars.
Did he inhabited Mars?
Oh.
He did.
So you could have like joint planet citizenship, kind of.
Imagine getting a visa.
This is what I think. Way up in the future, we'll set up gates, right?
Yeah.
Set up a gate out into space for us.
Yeah.
We'll be able to travel into sort of like a borders, right?
Yeah.
You pay and then you go into it, and it's sort of like sends you sort of into like a light speed, and then you can go out to another gate, and you'll sort of just be like, boom, you're out there right next to Jupiter or something, or Mars.
Light speed isn't safe for us to travel at.
Yeah, but it's like an enclosed space. I know I'm not a physicist or anything, but I mean,
Yeah.
we
I
could
get what
probably
you
do
mean.
something like that. Not like Star Wars where you just punch it Chewie, but like in an enclosed space. Like just that there's like a gate that like connects to another gate, and we can sort of do that.
Yeah.
Where we can get somewhere really fast.
Well, let's just have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait.
All right, final question for today, Roman. If you had to be an aircraft, any part of an aircraft, which part would you be and why?
Oh, this is a hard one.
This is probably the hardest question of this podcast. If I'm being completely honest. No pressure.
Oh, what's the on the tail of the aeroplane? What's the little
The little thing that
the
sticks
little
up.
no, not that. It's like the little like moving thing at the back.
The rudders? No.
Not it's like a rudder, but it's on the tail. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That really tiny one at the back. That's the one that controls whether or not it just goes left or right.
Yeah.
And the other ones,
It's just called a rudder.
it's just a
A
rudder.
rudder.
A vertical stabilizer.
Oh, no, that's not the thing that turns
Oh.
though. That's just the thing that holds it.
I want to be the vertical stabilizer.
All right. Why do you want to be the vertical stabilizer?
Oh, because I'm pointing up, dude. Everyone else is pointing left and right. I'm the one
You're
standing
pointing
up
up.
straight.
Well, that has been
Standing
an Afterhours podcast.
Thank you, everyone,
Thank
for
you
listening.
so much for listening.
Have a very nice holiday, everyone. We are very much appreciated to you listening.
Tell your brothers and sisters about this. Get the word around.
Thanks.
See ya.
Thank you.